Hello, everyone, and welcome to the United States Patent and Trademark Office Experienced Practitioner webinar series, where we provide legal training to trademark attorneys and their support staff. My name is Marisa Terrell, and I'm an attorney in the Trademarks Customer Outreach Office. Thanks for joining us today. As part of the ongoing modernization of the trademark prosecution process, we launched Trademark Center, a new system designed to improve your filing experience. Trademark Center is the only way that you can apply to register a federal trademark electronically. The Trademark Center application filing system was created with a few goals in mind. We wanted to enhance efficiency, collaboration, and case management. Since launching the beta version, we have actively solicited your feedback to improve the system. We heard you loud and clear, and based on your suggestions, we expanded the draft sharing feature. Now, attorneys can share drafts with other attorneys, and all support staff who are sponsored by the same attorney can share with each other. The purpose of today's legal training is to provide you with knowledge and skills needed to navigate these system updates. Before we begin, I'd like to share a few announcements with you. This session is being recorded for your convenience, and live captioning is available. You can access captioning by looking to the bottom bar for the icon featuring two C's. You'll have access to the recording in about 3 weeks or so by visiting our website, USPTO.gov. You'll notice that today's presentation features a number of slides. If you didn't receive the slides, you can access the slides in the chat link, in the chat window, via a link. Simply look to the bottom right of your screen and click on the 3 dots. You'll see a chat box and a Q&A box. Please notice that the links in the chat thread are not live. Therefore, in order to access them, you'll have to copy them and paste them into your browser. And finally, these slides will also be emailed to you within a few days. At the conclusion of the presentation, time permitting, we'll open up the discussion for your questions. So please submit your questions via the Q&A window. Simply type your question and hit enter. As always, we have a record number of attendees with us today, so it's possible that we may not get to all the questions. Please bear with us. Finally, again, be aware that the chat thread is for announcements only. The only way to submit a question to us is to use the Q&A window. So what are we talking about today? In today's webinar, we're going to discuss how to set up and manage your My USPTO account. We will review USPTO.gov user roles and responsibilities. We will also showcase Trademark Center functionality, including managing your drafts and docket, using the sponsorship tool, saving and editing drafts, and signing applications. Plus, we will showcase a hypothetical draft sharing workflow that demonstrates how to send drafts and draft links to sponsored support staff and associated attorneys. And finally, we're going to show you where you can go to find helpful resources. In this next section, I'm going to demonstrate how to set up, access, and manage your USPTO account. Let's go to the website now. I'm pulling it up. Okay. So before you can file your application with Trademark Center, you'll be required to set up a USPTO.gov account. Now, many of you have already set up your account, and you're likely already filing a number of applications with the system. But for our new attorney friends out there and our new support staff friends, let me take a moment to show you how to access this system. Setting up the account is easy. You're going to visit our main website, and I have it up here. You're going to look to the top on the right side on this black banner, and you'll see the wording My USPTO. I'm going to click that. And then I'll go on down to the page My USPTO, and I'm going to click on the button that says Create a USPTO.gov account right there. And then I'm going to enter the same email that I want to use when I log in. I'll be entering that email here. And then all the other necessary information, I'll provide it there. Once I submit, I'm going to receive an email with instructions on how to activate the account. The account activation link will expire in 24 hours. Now, once your account is activated, you can set up your password. You can learn more about setting up your account by visiting our main page. And let me go take you right back there. I'm going to go back one and back another, straight to our account. And here we are. So if you're wanting to find some more additional resources and information, this is how you'd find it. We're going to look now at the gray ribbon running across the top of the screen, and we're going to select Learning and Resources. We'll move on down to the second column, Getting Started, and we're going to click on, I'm in the wrong place. Yep, Create an Account. There we go. Clicking on Create an Account. Now, a few quick notes about using your USPTO.gov account. Anyone who wants to file forms must have their own account, even if they're helping you file. Don't share your USPTO.gov account. Do not create an account for someone else to use. Do not verify your identity on an account that someone else will use. Now, there are lots of benefits of using your USPTO.gov account. This account is really a customizable personal trademark dashboard. And with this dashboard, you can access a lot of our systems. You can access, let me show you down here under Trademark Transactions. You can access, of course, Trademark Center, where you can apply to register your trademark. You can also access TEAS. Yes, we still are using TEAS for responding to office actions and updating correspondence, etc. This is our trademark electronic application system. You could use the dashboard to visit Assignment Center or the Certified Copy Center, and also to pay fees and generate your transaction reports. But notice that you do not need a USPTO.gov account in order to access the trademark search. Though if you do, you're going to have some additional features. If you use your USPTO.gov account to open up if you use or access your trademark search while you're in your My USPTO portal, what's going to happen is that when you navigate to your search results, you'll be able to click on that search result and actually access a trademark summary page as opposed to TSDR. So that's a really great benefit there. We know that TSDR is another one of those systems that you don't need to be in your USPTO.gov account to open. TSDR is our trademark status and document retrieval system, and this is where you can review your records and check the application status. Now, like many agencies, we rely on multi-factor authentication to help make sure that your information is secure. I'm going to take you back to the deck so that we can look at some of the new updates on how we're keeping the system secure. We're going to navigate to page 9 in the deck, and so give me a moment while I pull that up for you. There we go. Our authentication methods are changing on May 1st. We're phasing out methods that rely on text messages and voice calls. So if you're using those methods as a second factor, you'll want to go ahead and set up your alternative mechanism before May 1 so that you can avoid an interruption in service. This slide shows 3 multi-factor authentication methods that are more resistant to phishing or cyber attacks: Okta Verify, Authenticator applications, and security keys or biometric authenticators. If you want more information about these methods, please visit our website, and you can find the link at the bottom, and of course it's in your slide deck. All USPTO.gov account holders must follow the terms of use for United States Patent and Trademark Office websites and the Trademark Verified Account Agreement. If an account holder violates the terms of the agreement, their account can be shut down. Now, if this happens to you, you won't have access to our filing system. You can find a copy of that entire agreement at that link here on the screen, and it's also in your slide deck. There are a couple of reasons why our agency may shut down your USPTO account. Your account could be disabled if you violate the terms of the verified agreement. Your account could be disabled if pursuant to a disciplinary order or pursuant to an administrative order or sanction. Your account may also be disabled if you violate the code of conduct when communicating with us. Now let's move into the next section on trademark user roles. User roles determine how you're going to use Trademark Center and what verification options you'll need. Today we're going to discuss U.S. licensed attorney role and the support staff role. Attorney roles. So you should select the attorney role if you are a U.S. licensed attorney who practices trademark law for external clients or as in-house counsel. You'll also use this role if you are both a trademark owner and an attorney who engages in the practice of law as part of your ordinary job activities. The attorney user role allows you to sponsor support staff using the trademark sponsorship tool. Attorney support staff roles. You're going to select this option if you provide support work under the direct supervision of one or more attorneys, whether they're in-house attorneys or in a law firm. Couple of reminders though. You must be sponsored by a supervising attorney via the trademark sponsorship tool. And you must set up your own USPTO.gov account and complete identity verification before you can be sponsored by an attorney. Now, not everyone is authorized to file trademark applications in Trademark Center. Non-attorney trademark filing entities are not authorized to file applications in Trademark Center. Attorneys who are not U.S. licensed attorneys are not authorized to file. Attorneys who are not in good standing before a U.S. state bar are not authorized to file an application via Trademark Center. U.S. law and USPTO rules govern the conduct of both practitioners and non-practitioners and provide sanctions for non-compliance. Now, once you verify USPTO.gov, your account, your user role is going to be locked. However, you can request to change it simply by emailing tees@uspto.gov. You can check the slide deck for more information on what to include in that email. We've got some details right there for you. Now let's jump back to Trademark Center so that I can show you some of the system functionality in real time. I'm going to navigate back to the website, and I'm going to go back to the right page. So let's go back to the main page of the site. Here we are. And so if you're on the main page and you're wanting to jump to Trademark Center, how do you do that? You simply scroll on over, following this gray bar over to the far right. Go to Find It Fast. You're going to hang out in this second column under Trademarks and click on Trademark Center. Now we're in Trademark Center. Couple of things I want to point out. Let's scroll down and look at some of the options on the screen. Okay, now I know to some of you this is going to be old hat, but for some of our new friends who are just navigating the system, I want to just take a minute and show off some of these bells and whistles. Okay, so here we go. We've got the new features option here. By clicking here, you're going to be able to see the latest features available, of course, and you can see right here that we've got draft sharing that just came out on March 13th, 2025. And then you're also going to see that we have some other upcoming changes coming soon. Okay, let me just navigate off of this page. Give me just one moment. Out of that. Let's go back to the main page. Now, here we are. I want to show you now the announcement section very quickly. This is super easy, but I just want to show you that this is where you can learn new things about what's coming up. We've got that announcement about May 1st. That date is here about the need to switch to a more secure multi-factor authentication method, and that's right there for you. I want to now draw your attention to the Help section here at the top right. Notice that when you click on Help, you see a couple of drop-down options: frequently asked questions, about Trademark Center, USPTO systems status availability, and release notes. Let's hover over here and click into About Trademark Center. I want to take a moment and show you this, because on this page, if you scroll down to the bottom, you can see some information on training. Here you're going to find links to recorded webinars featuring my colleagues in the Trademark Customer Outreach Office, all of them attorneys, presenting legal training on Trademark Center, including walkthroughs on sharing trademark drafts, etc. Another thing I want to show you, scrolling back up and clicking into Trademark Center. As attorneys and paralegals, you probably do not want to always view the additional helpful explanations as you complete your draft application. Sometimes you might not even want to see all that additional information. So how do you hide those explanations? You want to scroll right on over here and get into the system by clicking on the middle. Now we've opened up the system. It's going to take a moment and pop right up. This is how you can change those settings so that you do not see those helpful explanations throughout. You're going to click on My Settings and notice that you can indicate whether you want to see all the explanations, some of them, or none. Let's click None and keep moving, okay? That way you don't have to see all that. Now, let's move on back now to the Drafts and Docket. I'm going to access that tab. It's right here at the top. Here, this Drafts and Docket tab, and this is going to take me to my Drafts and Docket. This is where we're going to focus our next section of this discussion on. And I'm going to return to the deck right now. If you're following me, we're going to go to slide number 28. And I'm going to pick that up right now. Just hang out here for just a moment with me as I do that. Here I am on slide 28. And we're going to do a deeper dive into the draft docket management. Let's see. Am I on 28? I am not. Let me get there. Here we are. Let's see. It's not popping up. I'm going to try it one more time. There it goes. Okay. Thank you so much. Here we are with drafts and docket management. So Trademark Center allows users to save and share draft applications. However, all users do not have the same functionality. In this section, I'm going to show you what the Draft and Docket tab looks like for different users. This slide shows what an owner sees when they access their drafts and pending trademark docket in Trademark Center. Notice that this owner is going to see a couple of drafts here. We've got the T marquee design mark and also a mark that where the drawing is not available and it's untitled. Owners have limited functionality. When they access a draft, their only options are to edit or delete their application. Once an owner selects Edit, she will be taken to a draft application, and she'll have an opportunity to make her changes there. Like an owner, when an attorney or support staff accesses the drafts and docket, they can access all of the drafts and trademarks that were filed using Trademark Center, though. Notice that an attorney and support staff are both able to edit a draft, save a draft as a new draft, and delete. When an attorney or support staff selects the option to edit an existing draft, she will likewise be navigated to a new window where she could access the draft application. Now, both paralegals and attorneys have access to the sponsorship tool. Attorneys and paralegals can share application drafts with one another through sponsorship or association. Notice the highlighted button labeled Sponsorship Tool. Use this button when you're ready to sponsor support staff or add an associated attorney, like someone who's of counsel or another partner. This screen shows what an attorney sees when they access the sponsorship tool. Let's move from left to right. Notice the tab labeled Active Sponsorship. All active support staff sponsorships will be listed here. Next, notice the Sponsor Support Staff button on the far right. When an attorney is ready to sponsor their support staff, she will click on this button to sponsor them. The sponsorship tool only works if both users have an ID verified USPTO.gov account, and you can find a detailed step-by-step instructions on how to use the sponsorship tool by clicking on the Sponsorship Tool Help button and selecting FAQs or Frequently Asked Questions. When an attorney wants to connect to another attorney in her firm, perhaps another partner, another associate, or of counsel, she should just go to the sponsorship tool and select the Add Associated Attorney button. After clicking the Add Associated Attorney button, she will insert the email address for the attorney and send the association request. Next, she will validate the email of the attorney that has been associated with her via the tool. Now, so far, we've shown the sponsorship tool from the perspective of an attorney. But now, let's view the tool from the paralegal's perspective. Notice our paralegal has almost the same tabs as an attorney. She's only missing the Associated Attorney tab. The main support staff view has 3 tabs at the top: Active Sponsorships, Sponsorship History, and Pending Request. On this screenshot, the Active Sponsorship tab is open, displaying the names of the attorneys that sponsored the paralegal. If a paralegal no longer needs access to work on behalf of a particular attorney, she can withdraw from their sponsorship, and she can withdraw from the Active Sponsorship tab. First, she locates the attorney she wishes to revoke, and next, she selects the box to the right. If she has more than 10 active sponsorships, she can use the display options at the bottom of the page to show more items. Once she selects the attorney that she wants to withdraw from sponsorship, a pop-up like this will appear. She'll be prompted next to confirm her choices. Note that only the sponsoring attorney can restore the sponsorship once she withdraws. Once an attorney has sponsored a paralegal to work on their behalf, the paralegal can send them requests to sponsor other support staff. This feature is for already sponsored staff to suggest additional accounts that need to be sponsored by the same attorney. Notice that this function does not allow a paralegal to message an attorney directly and request that they sponsor them. Now that we've showed off some of the Trademark Center functionality, we're going to pivot a bit to a live demonstration showcasing a hypothetical draft saving and sharing workflow for a hypothetical law firm, Doe Law and Associates. And we're going to go ahead and start that next. Let me just get myself ready. Okay. So at this time, we're going to introduce the cast. We have joining us today Jason Lott. He's the managing attorney for Trademark's Customer Outreach, and he's going to play the role of John Doe, the partner of the hypothetical law firm Doe and Associates. Next, we have Matt Schwab. He's the senior legal administrator for Trademark's Technology and Systems at the USPTO, and he's going to play Will Smith of counsel with Doe Law. Next, we have Nakia Henry, a Trademark's Customer Outreach Attorney Advisor, who will play the role of Carrie Norton, a Doe Law paralegal, and Christina Calloway, also an attorney in Trademark's Customer Outreach, who will play the role of Patricia Monroe, another Doe Law paralegal. And finally, yours truly, my name is Marisa Terrell, and I'm serving as your narrator, also a Trademark Attorney Advisor in the Trademark's Customer Outreach Office. So our team of experts has over a century worth of trademark law experience between them. So now, in this first segment, we're going to showcase draft sharing for 2 T-Marquee trademark applications. The first application features a design mark, and the second application features a standard character mark. Our primary goal here is to showcase two different draft sharing capabilities in Trademark Center: direct sharing and group sharing via a link. Throughout this demonstration, we will use a test environment to showcase these system features. You're going to notice that this test environment does not move as fast as the real Trademark Center system. So please bear with us as we navigate through this test environment together. So the segment opens up with Carrie, a Doe Law paralegal. She's preparing to file 2 trademark applications. But before she files the applications, she needs to get the partner, John Doe, to review and approve them. Since she has already been sponsored by John, she can easily share a draft application directly with him. Let's watch together.
At our firm, the paralegal always begins the application before sending the application to review by the attorney. I'm the paralegal here at Doe Law Associates, and at this point, I have 2 applications that I need to have filed today. Before I get started, though, I'd like to take a look in my docket. So I select the View Your Docket button. It takes a second to open. So we'll wait a second while that loads. Once that's open, I'll take a look at the very first application that I'd like to have filed. And as we all are aware, sometimes we have system problems, so we'll just be patient while that's happening. It's the T-Marky design mark. You'll see that here. We'll go over to the options that I have. I hover over Actions, and I see I have 3 options. One is to edit the application, one is to save as a new draft, and the other is to delete. At this point, I know that I want to send this to my partner, John, so I'm going to select Share. I'll acknowledge that I'll allow someone else to edit the draft, and then I'll just select Continue. There we are. We have 2 options. One is to send directly to a docket. The other is to get a link that I can share with a group. I know that I'm sending this to John, so I'll select this first radial button. I'll go to the drop-down button, find John's name, and then I'll select Share. Now, once that's shared, I know that it is shared because I have an alert at the very top of the page. You see this alert here. The other option that I'll have here, this is grayed out, and it'll say Stop Sharing. I know that I don't want to stop sharing, that the draft is now currently in John's hands.
So to recap, in this first section, Carrie created the trademark application in Trademark Center. And she used the drop-down under the word Actions to share that draft directly with her boss. Let's see what happens when John, the partner, attempts to access the draft that Carrie shared with him.
So as you can see here, I am already logged in to my USPTO account here in Trademark Center. So I'm going to go ahead and reload the page to make sure that I have all of the drafts that have been shared with me. And again, since we're in the test environment, it might take an additional second or 2. So as you can see, I can see an alert from Carrie that she has shared a draft. We'll see this box right up here at the top. I can also easily see that it is a shared draft because the draft name over here on the left is grayed out. And I can also see that my only options are to return the draft. I can edit it. I can also save it as a new draft, but I can't delete the draft because I didn't initiate the draft. Carrie did. So here I just need to review Carrie's work, which is always stellar. So I go ahead and select the Edit button. And once the draft loads, I'm going to be able to go through and complete my review. Now, I have different ways of going through and taking a look at this to review. If I want to, I could use the left nav over here, and I could open up these, and I could pop into the certain thing that I wanted to look at. That's a possibility. I could also go ahead and hit the Review and Edit, or the Review and Sign area, come down here to Review and Edit. It's going to bring me to this page, which I know a lot of you have already seen because it has these collapsible boxes. So what I could do if I wanted to complete my review this way is open up each of the collapsible boxes and go through and make sure that everything is accurate. Now, that is one option, but I know, like other attorneys out there, I prefer a more traditional view. So I can go ahead and select Continue down on the bottom right-hand side to advance to the Declaration and Signature page. And from here, I can select the Download Application Preview button. So if I go ahead and select that button, it is going to download a PDF to my device. And at that point, I can review, I can save it, I can share it, I can print it, whatever it is that I want to do, I can do with this PDF. For a lot of folks, maybe you're going to print it and you're going to go through and with a red pen and make sure that everything is accurate. It's really kind of up to you how you want to do it. So when I'm sure that what I've looked at is all ready to go, I can then decide what to do next. So here for the declaration and signature, there are a couple of options. One is to obviously sign it directly, or I could send it to the client to sign, or we could upload a signed declaration from the client. So here at our firm, we don't sign directly, and instead we have it sent to the client for them to sign. So I could do that myself if I wanted to. I could go ahead and get a copy and then send it on to the client. But here at our firm, and you know, there are other firms that do it this way as well, we are going to have the support staff handle it. So instead of choosing an option here, what I'm going to do is select the exit link down here on the left. This is going to take me back to my docket, and I can see it is still here in my docket. And then all I need to do is return the draft, and that is going to send it back to Carrie, and then she can send it on and contact the client for their signature. So I'm just going to hit return draft again to confirm. And there we go. I can see that the return is successful due to the notification up here at the top of the page, and also the fact that it is no longer in my docket.
Great. So what just happened? In section 2, John, the partner, is alerted that Carrie shared a draft with him. After he edits the draft, he can send the draft back to Carrie, and Carrie will then send the draft to the client for signature. Before we move to section 3, I'd like to point out a few helpful tips right here. First, you want to be sure to reload Trademark Center before you attempt to retrieve a shared document. Second, there are several ways to review a draft. You can review it page by page using the left navigation. You can review the information by looking at all the information in each collapsible blue box. Or you can skip down to the end to the Review and Edit section, advance to the Declaration and Signature page, and select the Download Application Preview. Now let's get back to our demonstration. Recall that John has just returned the draft application to Carrie, who will send it off to the client for signature. What happens next? Let's watch section 3.
Hopefully we're all seeing the Trademark Center drafts and docket screen at this point. I have another application that I'd like to have filed, and that application is this T-Markey standard design. At this point, I would like to send this off to John. I have to leave the office. So because I'll be out of the office, I know that there's still another option that I can pursue. So I take a look and I decide to share this option to John. Again, I acknowledge that John or any person has the ability to edit this draft, and so I'll select continue. I know I'm sending it directly to John, so I select this radio button, send directly to John. I go to his name, John, scroll down, and then select share. Once I've done that, again, I see that the only option I have, because these other options are now grayed out, I cannot edit, I cannot save as a new draft, and I can't delete. So the only option I have remaining is to stop sharing. I also see that I've successfully sent that based on the alert at the top. The draft is now in John's hands.
So the purpose of this scenario is twofold. We are reinforcing the process of sharing a draft directly with another sponsored user, and we're also setting up segment 4, where Carrie, who created a draft, is unavailable to finalize the draft or forward it to the client. So let's watch segment 4 to see how John is able to edit and share a draft that he did not create.
So here we go. Unfortunately, Carrie is already left for the day, and by the time I am getting back to the office, she's on her way to the airport or wherever it is that she is off to on her week off, and I have an afternoon appointment that I can't miss, and we know we need to get this application out today. But it's no problem. We can still get this application handled. So I know that it's coming in, so I'm going to go ahead and refresh my docket to check and see what is here, and I should see that here we go. Yes, Carrie has sent me a draft, and I can see that through the alert up here at the top of the screen. And as before, my options are limited. I can return the draft, but that doesn't really help me in this situation because Carrie is gone for the day. Now, I also do have the option to edit and review, but I don't have time because I got to hop on the road for my next appointment. So what do I do? Well, I need to be able to share this draft with a group of collaborators to help finish the work. Now, if I had started the draft, I could simply send the link to the whole group so any one of them could pick it up. However, I didn't create this draft. It was created by Carrie and it was shared with me directly. So what are my options here? Well, I have two. I could return it, which of course doesn't help me. And the other option that I have is to save as new draft. So I can use this feature to help me make a copy of the draft. And if I make a new copy, I become the creator and I will have all of the sharing options. That is what I want. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and use the save as new draft feature. I'm going to go ahead and confirm that I want to create the new draft by selecting the appropriate button. And I can see that it has been created thanks to this alert at the top of the page. And of course, the draft name over here, well, this one's a little bit long, but I can see that it is a copy based on it popping up here in the draft name box. So I am now considered to be the creator of this draft, and this is giving me privileges that I don't have with the draft that was prepared by Carrie. So essentially what we're going to do is use Carrie's work as a template and then work inside that other draft, that new draft, and that's the one that we're going to file on behalf of the client. So here, even though both Carrie and I are out of the office, we can still have the application worked on and reviewed by a paralegal and an attorney at the firm. So how do I do that? Well, I'm going to share with a group of people using a shareable link. So I select the share button and confirm that another user can edit it by hitting the continue button. I then choose the option to get a link you can share with a group. I generate the shareable link. I then copy the link by hitting the copy link button, and then I select start sharing. And I will be able to tell that I am sharing because the draft name is grayed out and my only collaboration options are stop sharing and copy shared link. So at this point, all I need to do is open up my email and draft a quick note here to the team members that I want handling the case. Here, I'm going to send it to Will Smith, who is of counsel at Doe Law, and also Patricia Monroe, and of course, Carrie, because even though Carrie's out of the office, she wants to be looped in on everything. I would note, however, that this link right here is not for clients. It can only be used by specific people on my team. That is, it can only be accessed by attorneys that I'm associated with in Trademark Center and support staff that I've sponsored in Trademark Center. And the great thing is that all of my support staff that I've sponsored in Trademark Center will be able to share this draft amongst them. So having fired off that email, I am going to log off and then go hop on the road.
So did you catch what John just did there? Even though Carrie is out of the office, John is still able to continue working on the draft that Carrie created. How is this even possible? Well, John decides not to return the draft to Carrie and instead saves Carrie's draft as a new document or a template. As the creator of the new document, he is then able to share it in any way he wishes. For example, he can share it directly or via a group link and sharing it with Will, Patricia, and Carrie, all sponsored users at the same firm. Here, John decides to share the draft via the group link. And this ability to share via a group link is a new Trademark Center application filing feature. Now let's watch segment 5 to see what happens when Patricia, another paralegal, attempts to access John's new draft via that group link.
Hi, I'm Patricia Monroe, a sponsor paralegal at Doe Law Associates, and I cover for Carrie when she was away for her desk, but mostly work with Will, who's of counsel at the firm. Before Will completes his final review, I need to do some quick updates to the new draft. So I'm going to select the email, select the link in the email that John has sent out to me. And I'm just going to drop it in my browser here so that it can open up that new draft of the application. Now, while that's opening up, bear in mind, even though John has shared a link to 3 people, only one person will be able to review and view the draft at a time. This is not a collaboration platform where multiple users will be able to work on the draft at once. And although Will, Carrie, and John will be able to see my changes, they won't be able to see tracked changes, and they will not be able to revert to an earlier version of this draft. Now, since it's a new draft, Trademark Center does not want to prevent the creation of duplicate applications, so I'll need to update the mark information. In order to do so, I'm just going to navigate over to my left navigation, over into trademark details, and to my mark selection. Now, I know that I'm working on the standard character format application, so I'm going to click that first radial button. I'm going to scroll down, click continue. I'm going to put in my literal element of T marquee and click continue. And then I'm going to answer those corresponding questions for that mark application. I'm just going to mark information and just click no. And then I'm going to save my draft. And I'm going to do that just for safety, even though Trademark Center does save the application every minute. When I'm finished editing, I will be able to, in saving, I will be able to exit. And then I'm going to ping Will to let him know that I am finished with those particular edits and it's ready for his review.
Notice that even though Patricia did not formally return the draft to John, Will can still access it by opening up that original link that John created. The draft available at that link is updated every time a member of the group makes changes to the document. The process for sharing a draft via a group link is different than sharing with a user directly. Once John created the group link, he copied the link and pasted it into an email sent to Will, Patricia, and Carrie. The draft does not appear in Patricia's docket. The only way Patricia can access the draft is to click on the link. And when she opens the link, she's navigated to the draft where she can make her edits. A few notes about the draft that Patricia sees. The draft does not show track changes. The draft is not complete. It's going to be missing the mark information. This information must be re-entered. Now we do this to avoid the inadvertent creation of an exact duplicate application. Please share any comments about this copy functionality via the feedback button. We are always reviewing collaboration tools like this, and we would love to get your feedback and suggestions on how to make this process even better. One more thing, only one person can view and edit the draft at a time. Once Patricia finishes editing the document, we recommend that she save the draft, then exit the draft. Next, Patricia can return the draft so that Will can review. But if Patricia forgets to return the draft, Will can still access her edited copy by simply clicking on the original link. Now, let's watch the next section to see what happens when Will Smith, of counsel at Doe Law, accesses the draft that Patricia edited.
I am Will Smith, of counsel with Doe Law, and I'm associated with John Doe, a partner at the firm. I just received an alert from Patricia that her draft application is ready for my review. I've copied the link that John originally provided, and I'm going to paste it into the browser. You can see here my home page, as I'm sure all of you also have. I pasted the link in there, and it's going to open up into Trademark Center. But before it loads, I'll see a warning message telling me that Patricia may still be working on the draft. I'm seeing this warning because she didn't choose the return draft option when she was ready for me to review the application. When you choose that return draft option, this will return the draft to the original creator's docket, that would be John, and it leaves it free for an associated coworker like myself to grab it, as long as it's still shared. But even if a draft editor doesn't return the draft, it doesn't mean it's stuck in their docket. The creator can stop sharing it, or if the draft was shared using a shareable link, other editors can access it too. So I'm going to access it here. Since Patricia told me it was ready and that the draft does save your progress, every 60 seconds I click Move Draft to my docket. And that's going to dismiss the warning and give me control of the draft application. So now I'm in the draft application, and I'm going to conduct my review by opening up each collapsible box and reviewing it for legal accuracy. I will go to the Mark Format section and make the necessary changes there. Here, I update the mark with the standard character. I save. I continue and answer the questions about words and languages other than English, the translation, transliteration section, and the name and portrait section. In this case, no, T. Markey is a fictitious character and not a real person, unfortunately. Going back to review and edit, I continue my review. And at this point, I've completed my review. Once I'm finished, I'm going to save the document and then hit exit. Now I'm going to open up the drafts and docket. I'm able to send the draft to the client myself, but at DOLAW, the paralegals have this responsibility. I've decided to release the draft from my docket by using the return draft option. Notice that when I return this draft, the draft will be removed from my docket. If I want it back to make edits, I'll need to open the draft using that same shared link. Now I receive an alert that the draft has been returned, in this case to the docket of John, the creator. Now, any associated coworker with the link can access it without seeing a warning. I'm going to ping Patricia to let her know that it's available for her to review. She won't receive a new email with a hyperlink. Instead, she can access the updated draft that I sent to her by clicking on that original link, the same one we're all using. The draft available at the link will contain the most recent changes made by me, but won't show tracked changes.
So let's review what just happened. In this segment, segment 6, Will of counsel at DOLAW reviews Patricia's draft one last time before he sends it off to the client to sign. Now notice that in Trademark Center, Will is listed as an associated attorney. For our purposes, an associated attorney is any sponsored attorney associated with the firm through the sponsorship tool. This associated attorney might be a partner, an associate, of counsel, etc. Now let's watch our last segment, segment 7, to see how Patricia accesses Will's draft and how she sends the draft to the client for their signature.
So I've just received that alert from Will that he sent his final draft application to me so I can send it to the client. So I'll need to go back to that original link that John sent to the group. I am going to drop that link in my browser to upload Will's final draft. And then I'm going to conduct my final review once that is uploaded. There it is. All right. So I see here where I can actually review that final draft with those collapsible blue boxes. I'm going to navigate over here to, okay, let's see here.
Christina, you may need to open the trademark details section and
Okay.
continue through the standard character section again.
All right, let's check that. Thank you, Will. Which is a good note that you need to review before going there. And that Trademark Center does provide you with the information to just check yourself and make sure everything is looking good so that you can move the application through to send over to the applicant. All right. So I'm going down to review and sign. Let's see what it is telling me here. Okay. So I just need to go through the application. I'm going to actually go through and
Let's
review.
check the review and edit. I'm
Yep.
sorry.
Yep, no problem.
In the test environment, sometimes these mark drawings don't get generated correctly. So let's see if it's got the error message
And no problem.
down in the mark section, the
Like
trademark
I said,
details.
that's a great feature of Trademark Center, right?
Well, that's still
All
there.
right. Okay. So it's
Okay, let's
still
continue and see
there.
if we
Let's
can.
try anything. Yep.
Yep.
So I've reviewed it now. I've opened all the boxes. So I've reviewed this to make sure everything's there. I'm also going to just try really quickly to reload in the browser to open up the final draft. Okay, there we go. All right, so I've reviewed everything. I now have the opportunity to go to the declaration and signature. It's notifying there that I need to complete that. And then I'll be able to drop down to send this application to someone else to sign because we're sending it to our client. Once I click that, I'm going to scroll down and I'll need to enter that signatory name as well as signatory position. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to put in our client's name, as well as their position as president of T. Markey LLC. All right. And then I'm going to scroll down because I'm going to send this email to myself. So I'm going to put in my email address, pmonroe@dolawAssociates.com. And then I'm going to send that email to myself because that email is going to include the link that I then need to forward to our client to sign. All right, so I submit that. And then I'm going to receive a thank you message that appears on the screen. It's going to tell us the next steps. The system will then email me a link to the application that I can then forward to the signer. Now, the link expires after 60 days. And if I attempt to make any additional changes after the link has been sent to the signer, I will be required to generate a new link and send it to them in order for them to sign. So I can then close out this message by either just returning to the application or if I wanted to return back to my drafts and dockets. Now, the client is going to receive an email as shown on the screen from USPTO that directs them to review and sign the application. Now, once the client clicks the link that is inside of this particular email, they will then be taken to the declaration page, in which they will be able to sign the application as well as submit their declaration. Now, once they've done so, once the application has been signed by the client, I will receive a notification email that will allow our firm to review that information, get that signature, and then pay for the application. Once I receive that notification email, I will be able to click inside of that in order to pay the filing fee and submit the application. The link is there. Once I open that, I can still make additional changes in the application if I want to do so before submitting the application by returning to review and edit on that left navigation side or to the appropriate section in the application. Keeping in mind, however, that if I do so or if I make any changes in the application, then I will have to resubmit the application to be re-signed by the client. I could do this by generating and forwarding a new link to the signer by returning to that declaration and signature page and then completing that information all over again. Now, note here, the individual listed in the signatory's name field is legally required to enter their own signature. You can't sign for someone else.
For more information on signatures, including acceptable signing methods and uploading a signed declaration, please see slides 75 to 88 for details. We sincerely hope that you enjoyed our live demonstration on draft sharing and saving today. I want to thank all of our participants, all of my colleagues in the Trademark Customer Outreach Office, and of course, Matt Schwab, for your participation today. Now, before we move into our Q&A segment, I want to share a few resources with you. And if you're following along, we're now at slide number 88 on how to find help. So we, the Trademarks Customer Outreach Office, offers legal training on Trademark Center legal requirements every other Friday from 3 to 4 Eastern Time. We invite you to join us for an overview of what goes into the form, coupled with a walkthrough on how to use the system to file trademark applications. We have a number of recorded Trademark Center trainings on our website, and you can access them at this link here. Or you can find our trainings if you just go to the Help tab in Trademark Center. If you're looking for my USPTO resources, including answers to frequently asked questions about the system, visit My USPTO, that login page, and click on the My USPTO Help button. Trademark Assistance Center is our customer support office, and it's available to assist you and your clients Monday through Friday, 8:30 in the morning to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Calls are answered quickly, but you can also send an email, and that may take a day or so. This is a great resource for you and a great one to share with your clients. If you want to subscribe or unsubscribe to a USPTO newsletter or alert, please visit this link here and provide us with your email. Please also follow us on social media for news and other updates about the agency. The USPTO does not provide legal advice, we don't enforce legal rights, and we don't recommend we do not recommend specific private attorneys. We know that the best resource to handle trademark matters is a U.S. licensed attorney, and we value the work that you do. Let's take a moment and talk about scams. The trademark industry is no different than any other industry. There's scammers trying to take advantage of trademark owners and their attorneys. Now, some of the common scams involve attorneys. For example, some of them involve improperly appointing U.S. licensed attorneys in applications or registrations. For example, scammers might use a U.S. licensed attorney information without the U.S. licensed attorney's knowledge or permission. In that instance, the attorney hasn't even authorized the use of their information. Or sometimes scammers will even pay a U.S. licensed attorney to use their name and bar credentials in a trademark filing. In this instance, the attorney has minimal, if any, participation in the application process. Now, anyone who wrongfully uses an attorney's information in a trademark application or registration may face sanctions and criminal prosecution. So if you know of an attorney who's wrongfully allowing others to use their information, contact the Office of Enrollment and Discipline by emailing oed@uspto.gov. Now, in an effort to combat scams, we recommend that you periodically conduct a search of your name in Trademark Search to see if you've been improperly appointed to a trademark submission as part of a scam. You can conduct that search by searching your name in the attorney field by using our trademark search system. Filing firms. Your client can also be targeted by a scam, so please be sure to share our resources on the risks associated with hiring non-attorney filing firms with your client. You can find this information at the link provided here. And finally, you or your client might receive deceptive or misleading notices in the mail. Please share this link with them so that they can spot these scams in real time. So let's move into our Q&A segment of the program so that we can answer some of your questions in real time. So we're going to bring back my colleagues back up on the screen. And let's see if I can see you guys. I don't see anyone. Let me see. Okay.
So Marisa, you have Matt and you have Nakia up with you.
Oh, great. Thank you so much because I cannot see anyone. Fantastic. All right, we're going to start in just a moment. Let me grab. So as we move into our questions, let's see what we have. We want to thank all the folks who might have submitted questions here, but let's start with one. And maybe for you, Matt, or for Jason, where is the draft application saving when we use this direct link or the group link?
I can answer that. Let me
thank
note
you.
something first. We've got almost 100 questions in the chat.
Oh,
So if
wow.
a question hasn't been responded to in the chat, we're a little backlogged, but fortunately, a lot of them share common elements, and I think we can knock them out pretty quickly in the discussion here. So to answer that first question that Marisa posed, the draft application is saved in the cloud. And so what you're basically doing when you're sharing these applications, the drafts, you're changing ownership. So it's saved on our servers, and then the owner changes, the person who has access to it changes when you share it. Now there's an original owner who ultimately, if you return it, that's where it will go to. But people who have custody can do all the things that someone who made it could do in terms of prosecuting the application. They can make edits, they can move forward, they can send it out for signature, they can even submit it. So when you share it with someone else, they'll be able to treat it from a prosecution standpoint like it's their own draft that they've created. And these are all saved on our USPTO servers. So it's changing the person who's looking at it rather than copying the file from one place to another.
That's fascinating. I'm so glad that we were able to demonstrate that because sometimes that's a bit hard to conceptualize, that you're able to sort of snag this link and to access these files. Very good. Okay, when using your group link, I think you sort of answered this a bit. Let me skip down to this one. Where can I find more information on using that sponsorship tool?
I'll take this one too. There's
Okay, Matt.
two good places to go. From the main website, from www.uspto.gov, you can click trademarks in the top menu bar to click the link. And then under apply to register your trademark, you can select verify your identity. And so on that ID verification page on the left side, you'll find the trademark sponsorship tool guide along with the link to the tool. And that's being updated to show some of the changes that you've seen here today. You can also, from the top ribbon, the menu bar, when you're in Trademark Center, you can click the sponsorship tool link and then click the help menu that Marisa showed us in the upper right. You can also access information about the sponsorship tool from that help menu. It goes to the same place. So either way.
Okay. And that's nice to have all this information right at your fingertips so that you don't have to actually have this recording available or this hefty slide deck available, and you can just access this information right in the system. Okay. So here's a question for anyone who wants to say, because I can't see you directly, can a business owner share with others? And we kind of went through that a bit with a little bit today in the slide deck, but can a business owner share with others?
Jason, are you on? I don't want people to get bored.
No, Matt, this is all you. I'm in the background trying to answer some questions and
okay.
them to
So
you.
Matt,
But
this is going to be you.
I will knock these. I'll knock these out.
You're the
I
expert.
apologize for the repetitive voice here. Okay. So no, sharing functionality is limited to legal practitioners at this time. That's U.S. licensed attorneys, Canadian attorneys and agents, and their sponsored support staff. Because a lot of the questions address this, let me see if I can explain all of sponsorship and sharing in 60 seconds. I don't think I can.
Let's do it.
Let me recap.
Okay.
So everyone who can access Trademark Center and get in there and start filing an application has done two things. They've verified their identity on their USPTO.gov account, and they've selected a valid role. So they're an attorney, support staff, owner, one of those things. You need to be an ID verified attorney, owner, support staff to get in there. The practitioners, so everybody except for the owners, have access to the sponsorship tool, and that's in that menu bar. The sponsorship tool is where you connect relationships with you and other users. So attorneys can sponsor their support staff, They do it by using their email on their USPTO.gov account. They can sponsor 50 at once if they want to. Please don't, that's a lot. It might look weird, but you could. They can also associate with other attorneys. So if someone else has an attorney account, you can agree. You send them a request and they accept your request. Now we can share files back and forth with one another. For support staff, you can share files with everybody who you're connected through the same attorney. So if Attorney Doe is sponsoring 4 different paralegals, they can all share with one another automatically. They don't need to initiate a relationship. Then we have 2 different ways of sharing within Trademark Center. One is a direct targeted share that sends it to someone's docket. It forcibly transfers ownership, and that's the direct share method. So it's like you taking a folder, dropping it on someone's desk and saying, here you go, can you please handle this? So that's how the direct share works. When they're done, they give it back to you. Now, the link share, the shareable link that we demonstrated today, can be distributed to anybody who you want who would have access to it. You can send it to other people, but they'll get error messages. If you send it to the owner, it's going to say, I'm sorry, you're an owner. This is a link for legal practitioners. You might have been given this in error, but they're not allowed to go in there and make changes because that's outside of the legal representation arrangement. So with this link, the link is more like putting something into a shared folder virtually that people have access to and saying, can someone please handle this? And either you send it when it's done or send it back to me and I'll finish it. So that's the difference between the 2 methods. As you can imagine, that second method allows a lot of people in, and we want one at a time so we can know who made what change, but it also doesn't have the notifications built in because you're not sharing it with anyone in particular. You're just allowing a lot of people who you're connected to through sponsorship or through association to grab it. That's more than 60 seconds, but I bet less than 120.
It was perfect, and it was actually very helpful to have it all the information provided at one time, so that you could sort of compare and contrast. So thank you so much for that. Let's talk a moment about paralegals. And sometimes a paralegal is going to be sponsored by different attorneys, I guess. And so as they are preparing to maybe assist with the drafting of an application, is there a way for them to automatically import the sponsoring attorney's information into the application so that they don't have to manually input that every time?
So not at this time, but we are looking into some enhancements to the address book functionality that you already have in your USPTO.gov account that you can see in My USPTO.
Okay.
If you played around with the account there, you know that you've got an address book. We're looking at some enhancements that would allow you to pull, client addresses as well as attorney information from there. But for now, the way to handle this would probably be to create a template containing all that attorney's information, name it, Attorney Doe template. And then whenever you make a copy of it, you're starting with a copy that has all their information already in there. Of course, if the attorney is going to themselves log in and review and edit, they can, with a click of their button, import all their information from their USPTO.gov account. So the attorney can import it that way too.
That's a great tip. Okay, so you could just create save a draft, give it a name that you can recognize as a template, and then use that going forward. That's great. Okay. Here's another question. Can a U.S. licensed attorney direct her paralegal to sign her name to an application? Is that okay?
No.
No.
Please don't. Signatures are non-delegable, and that is not a valid move. So it could jeopardize the application or any ensuing registration. So please do not do it.
Right. So we went over a little bit of the user roles a little bit in this presentation, but we have a whole web page designated to that and also to frequently asked questions. So you could find that on our website. And I think the link is in our slide deck. Okay. Now, what happens if maybe you start the process of creating your USPTO account and you select the wrong user role? Now, we know that makes a real difference because if you have the wrong user role, you might not have access to the right functionality. So the question is, can you change your user role?
You sure can. Please email tease@uspto.gov to do so. One instance would be, we have hundreds of students participating in trademark clinics at law schools across the country every year. in affiliated programs, and we ask them, because they haven't yet passed the bar and they are not attorneys, we ask them to register as support staff. That also allows the supervisor to sponsor them to give them access to the system and also make sure that they're signing off on the work. However, when they graduate, they email us and say, hey, I passed the bar, can I get my attorney role? And we're happy to do it.
All right. Now, what about this payment link? Attorney Christina Calloway was able to showcase that in her portion of our hypothetical when she was playing the role of Patricia. So here, the question is, can I send a payment link to a customer if they are represented by an attorney?
The person submitting the application is going to need to be the person providing payment. So, whether that is the attorney or support staff working on behalf of the attorney, they are going to need to. We do not have a standalone payment link that you can use to send to the owner. Frankly, those were being abused by parties who were not authorized to file. And so that was not the intention of them in the first place, but those payment links will be paid by the person who is submitting it, and they won't be sent out separately to someone else to pay who doesn't know and may not be able to attest to or understand what they're paying for.
Okay. Here's another question. This is, let's say that I am a paralegal and I tried to forward the form, I guess the draft, to someone else to sign, and it wasn't working for me. Are there some troubleshooting things I might need to consider?
So, the signature is different from sharing.
Okay.
So the draft sharing, that requires a connection through sponsorship. Either you've affirmatively gone into the sponsorship tool and made a connection with someone, or your support staff who are sponsored by the same attorney. So if you're trying to share it for draft changes outside of the signature, you do need to be connected. But you also should be able to send the e-signature form to anyone in the world to sign just that e-signature, because all they're doing is signing the declaration, and they're not changing the contents of the application. They're just reviewing and signing. You can send that to anyone. They do not need even an account to sign it. So if you're not able to forward the signature, please make sure you're using the signature option within Trademark Center. A lot of times, you can't just send links out to, depending on how the link is made, if it's designed to be protected, you can't just send it out to anyone. However, if you go through the electronic signature, get the email that's sent to you, you should be able to forward that on to your client or whoever is signing, and they should be able to access it.
Okay. We also have some more details on navigating signatures in the slide deck. We have about 7 pages dedicated to that. So hopefully there's some information there that can be of help to you. Now, where can I go to find a text form as a separable downloadable document? There's times when you might want to share a completed application with someone, maybe even the client, I don't know. And so if I was looking for like a PDF that's shareable, where would I find that?
You can generate a preview, a draft preview, when you get towards the signature portion of it. So there's an option there to generate that preview. They're also able to preview in the electronic signature mode. They can expand the panels as we saw and look through and preview there. We're also looking at making some changes to the review and edit page to sort of potentially have a 2-step process where the specific errors are called out separately, and then once they're resolved, the final preview resembles more of what you would expect to see in the filing receipt or in the document that you see on TSDR. So those are some potential changes for the way you would see those. But yeah, download that PDF preview from within the application and the signature page.
Great. Okay. And I know that Jason demonstrated that a bit, and we talked about it somewhat in the hypothetical. So thank you very much. So if I'm wanting to access a draft, I guess, in the system, do I need to be logged in to review drafts that were sent to me?
Yeah, I believe so. Let me make sure I heard the question correctly.
Okay. I'm thinking that,
Yes.
right, so this probably could be that group share link, right? So you don't necessarily
Yes.
have to be logged in. You could access that URL and then it will take you, it will navigate you to that draft, which is in the
Yep.
system.
Yep,
Okay.
that's right. You'll be told that, if you can't log in, you'll be told to log in.
Mhm.
If you've logged in but it wasn't shared with you, because you're not connected to the person, you'll get that message. If you have the wrong role, you'll get that message.
Mhm.
So, yeah, you'll need to be logged in. You'll need to have the right role to view it, and you'll need to be connected to the person through some form of association or sponsorship. Sorry, there's a couple of law school hypotheticals in the Q&A here that have been submitted. I
Oh,
would expect
really?
no less, but they're very, very interesting fact patterns. I don't know if we'll be able to address some of these because they are so specific.
Right. Unfortunately, not able to provide legal advice, but we're trying to give you some of the rules so that you can apply your facts and hopefully find that decision and the answer that you need. So here, the next question is about drafts and how long do they remain in the docket? Is it indefinite, or is there a term when they might expire?
The proposed term is a year.
Mhm.
So the reason it's a year is that, every year the trademark ID manual updates on January 1st. So those of you who have been practitioners for a while are probably familiar with this annual ritual, welcoming in the new year with a small number of ID manual changes that require the complete destruction of all outstanding forms, at least applications in process. We hope to minimize that, but that is likely to still be sort of the limiting factor.
Okay.
So our plan is to leave them for 1 year and remove them after the expiration of that time. Again, that's for drafts. However, if you're continually making updates to it, then the age would be refreshed.
Okay. So we've spent the bulk of our hypothetical scenario talking about sharing between an attorney and a support staff or, support staff of counsel. But is there a way that support staff can share a draft application with another support staff person?
Yes, either directly or with a shared link, as long as they are both sponsored by the same attorney. So one of the things I should clarify is that when an attorney associates with another attorney,
Mhm.
they don't inherit each other's support staff.
Oh, okay.
If you as an attorney want support staff to work in your behalf, you should sponsor them in the tool. Once you sponsor them and click through the declaration, essentially cementing your understanding of that, then that relationship is established and you can share with them. So the support staff that you've sponsored are all presumed to be able to share with one another. They don't automatically get all of their work in each other's dockets,
Mm.
but they have the ability to share it with each other.
Okay. Now, this question has a reference to some of the patent functionality in their system. But the question is there a way to set it up, I guess, in their USPTO .gov dashboard, or I think that's what they mean. Is there a way that you could set that up so that you can receive an email when the status changes on your trademark?
There are 1.5 ways because one of them is coming in about 6 weeks.
Oh, wow.
The
Okay.
first way that is currently there is there's a docket and status functionality built into my USPTO. So when you go to my.uspto.gov and you log in with your uspto.gov account, they have widgets. You can add different widgets. One of them is a trademark docket widget. So that allows you to track anything. It will send you an automated email about the status changes. Coming to Trademark Center will be a complementary notification system. So the notification system, instead of having the banner drafts that we saw, or the banner notifications that we saw in the dockets today, that will hold the notifications in a more traditional email or messaging style notification center so that they can be reviewed. And once the status updates are included into the docket functionality in Trademark Center, it will also be able to send you messages regarding that. The default will be that it just has notifications, but you'll be able to turn on an email copy of the notification to your email address.
That is tremendous. Okay. Looking forward to those updates. That's great. Here's one more question for you, Matt. You're on a roll here. Okay. um, does the person who initiated the application, okay, have to be the one to generate the signature link, or can someone with access to the link generate a signature link? I think there's a bit of a confusion
anyone,
there, but
anyone who could edit the file. So
yes.
anyone who's associated and has the link or had the draft shared with them, they can send it out for signature.
Okay.
So and submit. Once you have edit capabilities, you can kind of finish it off. You know, it doesn't need to go back to the originator for any final step.
All right. And here's another one. Once your draft is signed, how do we access it to file it if we are not the original drafter? And then there's a part 2, but I'll just give you that bit for now. Well, maybe I'll tell you. And how does the original drafter get notified that it is signed? So
if you are going to take a filing action, then you need to have possession, capture of the actual. I guess we can't have that in the digital age, but you need to have possession of the actual file. So it needs to have been shared with you. So you can't take a link that has been worked on that hasn't been shared with you, and then try to submit it or take a filing action on it. You need to have that some sort of transfer from the creator to you, and then you can take those actions.
Okay. Okay. All right, here we go. When reviewing draft application, let's start again. When reviewing draft applications for signature, why are the specimens not provided as part of the review process? Because sometimes, you know, it makes sense to want to double check those specimens.
They should be. You should be able to click the file name and it'll open in another tab. So they're not automatically embedded. They load if you want to load them. So you can click on the file name of the specimen and it'll open up in another tab and you can review it, but they don't automatically all display.
Okay. So you got to dig in a little bit deeper. Okay, but they are there. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's in with the information about the specimen. So where it says dates of use, it's got the file name. Just click the link to that, and it'll open the specimen file.
Okay, great. Now here's a question. It's specific, but I think we can answer this one. I'm trying to verify my identity, but I received the following error. This is the error. This ID Me account has already been used to verify a different USPTO.gov account. If you can't access this account, contact customer service, and it gives an email for further assistance. So the question or the attendee is now states in addition, it looks like my ID is still connected with the previous law firm where I worked. How can I fix this issue?
So for ID verification issues, you know, we follow a pretty similar process each time.
Okay.
ID Me has verified your identity, so they know that who you are matches your name with a high degree of certainty. So if you want to attach that to a different account, you have to unverify the existing one first.
Unverified.
So if you have an old account that was verified, that's fine. You email Tees and say, hey, I changed firms. I don't have access to my old account. I just made a new one. And we will unverify the old one, provided that there are no unusual, bits of information in the request that we get. Once we do that, you can then go in yourself and verify your new account. We need to log back in to ID.me to do that because they're the holders of your identity. And if you can log in and reconfirm it with them, then that is what we require for any new account. So you'll go back in, reconnect your ID.me account to your USPTO.gov account, and now your new one can be verified. But you can only have one verified account at a time. We do apologize for any inconvenience on that, but I'm sure you can understand why we cannot allow multiple accounts to be verified with the same person's name.
Right. Thank you. That's very helpful information, Matt. We're so glad you're here to provide these details. Thank you so much. Okay, we're going to just do probably 2 more questions before we close out. We want to respect everyone's time and everyone's afternoon. So here's one. Is there a way to delete an entire class of goods and services instead of having to delete each one by one when working from a draft application?
So well, it's not a very straightforward way. That's actually a trickier question than it seems like.
Ah.
We will in some of the other, how much, oh man, it would take a minute or two to show it. On some of the later forms that we're doing, let me click in here real quick and see if I can. I'm sorry, I don't think we'll have time to.
Okay,
That'll
okay,
take me just a few seconds to fill.
Yep. All right. So we appreciate the question, and I think we might have a workaround. If you want to send us an email, please do so, and maybe we could provide some additional information. Okay. Here's, well, let's see. We've got 1 more minute. We're going to have to go ahead and close out now. Matt, I want to thank you for your time here with providing all these great answers to these questions. We've had a variety of questions, and I know that my colleagues in the Q&A box have been super busy because I can see all of the motion flying across the screen here. So thank you for your time doing that. I'm talking about specifically Jason Lott, who's the managing attorney for Trademarks Customer Outreach, and my colleagues Nakia Henry and Christina Calloway, both attorneys with me in Trademarks Customer Outreach, and of course, Matt Schwab. We want to thank you for your assistance. I want to draw your attention to just a few more reminders before we close out this afternoon. In a few days or so, you're going to receive a link that's going to have a link to it's going to be a link to our survey. Now, we always want to hear your feedback because as you can see, we take it very seriously and we really start working to improve the system based on the things that you are requesting. So please take some time and tell us what's working and what's not. We'd love to get your feedback. You're also going to receive a link to the presentation slides, and we will be posting a copy of this recording, or we will be reposting a recording of this webinar on USPTO.gov and on YouTube in about 3 weeks or so. You can find that information on our website. And my name is Marisa Terrell. Thank you so much for joining us today. Please visit our webpage for more information on our next Experienced Practitioner webinar. This is legal training for trademark attorneys and support staff. Thank you so much for joining us today.